when you go to the nurse to see if you don't see well, you don't just take glasses if you don't see well. You first do some eye exercises and see if within a month or two you'll see well again. And if you will, then forget glasses, because you start with glasses, there's no end to it, you know? So the idea is to revolutionize the whole thing from everywhere in the world. And in this case, it doesn't matter if it's Italy, and it doesn't matter if it's San Francisco. It makes no difference. If there's any place in the world that will start to work differently, it's like the 100 monkeys, then everywhere in the world will change as well. So you think Italy, and you think France, and you think Spain, I think the world.
Okay.
That's where we want to influence everywhere.
So, you told the myopia doesn't stop if you don't make exercises.
It stops, but you have to work very hard to make the exercise. But if you stop the myopia where it starts, you'll never have it.
And usually at what age it starts?
Normally it starts at the age of 9 or 10. To begin with, they teach children to read at the age of 6, and in some places the age of 5. They should not start to teach them to read before the age of 7. They should read to them, tell them stories, show them pictures, and only start to read from the age of 7. To continue with, these days, it's not good for macro, but it's also not good for people. People stop reading books. They just look at the internet for all kinds of solutions and resolutions. And I think it's terrible for people's psyche and for people's eyes. I personally think Kindles are good for business, but are bad for people. I think that the physical book that you open and you read, and you take some breaks, this is the thing that people didn't do. Look at the distance, and reading good light, outside light, is so much better than looking at Kindle and looking at computers. And these days, in universities, people stop reading books. They start to look for all the short ways, like answers in Google for everything. You know, there's something wrong with that. What's wrong with that is not going in depth into any subject. So you want to improve people's vision. First of all, teach them that a lot of information doesn't teach you anything. That actually going deeply into things teaches you much more. You can have less information, but be much more informed by having less information and go deeper. And these days, the whole thing is different. Much information and very little absorption. Let's put it this way.
And we have spoken about children.
Yeah.
What we can say about older people?
What we need to do with older people is encourage them to read print that they have easy time reading. Encourage them to, you're talking about old people, like 60, 70, 80, 90, right? Encourage them to read in the sun, but also encourage them to be physical. Do you know the story about this man was 47 and this French woman was 90? And there was a bet. He was about to pay her $500 a month. That was in the 60s. That was $500 was $500, right? So you were paying her $500 a month, and when she dies, he gets her apartment. He was 47, she was 90. Where can you lose? 30 years later, he dies at the age of 77 from a heart attack, and his family had to keep paying her for 4 more years. She died at the age of 124. What he didn't pay attention is that she was bicycling, she was fencing, mountain climbing. She was 90, okay. Well, I met a 90-year-old right now. Her name is Bridget in Quillan, near Toulouse, you know, when I went to France. And every time she eats lunch, she puts her legs up and sees the river flowing and eats, and she has a house, and she made a community out of her house, and she's trying to put people together and does many, many nice things. Well, so the point is, you want to live long, you have to have a purpose in life. You know, you don't have to do the work that you always did before, but you have to have a purpose in life to feel you're doing something good. So you can volunteer and do something good for the public, you know. And this is, I heard that you're also a politician, so it's something that you could actually encourage older people in your town to do, to come and volunteer for the poor, volunteer for the hungry, volunteer for kids, everybody in their capacity, you know, teach kids chess, checkers, teach kids this and that, you know, give people a feeling that they open their eyes for a good reason. That's what old people can do, okay? But also in terms of their health, they need to walk, they need to stretch, they need to strengthen the body, and they need to work on their vision. Okay? So that's a very important thing. They need to work on looking at a distance and working on the periphery, because here is their alternative: to sit for hours in the doctor's office waiting to see what the doctor thinks, and then getting this procedure and that procedure and that procedure, destroy the national safe, because there isn't enough money for all these procedures in the first place, you know, and in the meantime become more miserable all the time and more dependent. So the eye exercises is exactly what they need.
Can you tell me something about sunglasses?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's put it this way.
Because here in Italy, all the people, especially old men,
wear sunglasses.
Wear sunglasses.
Who told them? The doctors told them to wear sunglasses, right?
No, sunglasses here in Italy are something to be macho or maybe fashion.
More interesting.
More interesting, all these things. But it is important that we say people that wear usually sunglasses also in winter time, also in evening time. What is the result?
Okay, let's put the results. First of all, your pupils don't constrict as easily. Let me give you an example. Look at her, for example, look at her face. Nice face, right?
Yes.
Now look through your fist. How does the face look to you? How does it look?
Little.
Okay.
More clear, right?
Yes.
Because the pupils, when they constrict, here, look at his face, and look like this through your face. Do you have pinholes? Do you know where they are?
No, but you need something.
You know the pinholes, right? Pinholes effect?
No, I can see him more clear.
More focus.
More focus.
Yes. It's called, fixation. So when the pupils constrict, there's more fixation. When you're in the daytime, the pupils are always smaller. In the nighttime, the pupils are always bigger. You put sunglasses and they interfere with the pupil constriction. So when they interfere with the pupil constriction, your fixation gets compromised. So your vision is not as clear. That's number one. Number two, we have a pigment in the retina and in the choroid, which is the blood that nourishes the retina, which is called melanin, that darkens the light anyway. It's behind the photoreceptors. The retina has 10 layers, so it's behind the photoreceptors, and it darkens the light, just like if you go to a photographer and he takes a picture, he has a lot of light, but he has paper behind you, so the light will not disperse. That's what the retina does. You wear sunglasses, you don't need the melanin as much, and that affects the production of the melanin for the eye and for the skin. So it makes actually a problem for the skin and for the eye. Okay? The next thing, which is very important, is that the pupillary size affects your mood to a great extent. Because in emergency, the pupils are wide in the daytime. Like if you're afraid, they're wide, you know? So you don't even know why, but all of a sudden, a system which is called the sympathetic nervous system kicks in as if you're in an emergency without knowing that the reason is actually the pupils that are not shrinking as much as they should. Okay? And that affects all your metabolism, that affects your liver, that affects your stomach, that affects your whole digestive system. The eyes very much connect to everything. Another thing is the combination of light rays and blood is very important. When the light hits the retina, it meets the hemoglobin of the blood, and in some ways it creates a secretion of serotonin. And serotonin makes you optimistic, you know, as a neurotransmitter in the brain. So it's like the best antidepressant in the world to have the sun exposure. And it's the worst thing when you stop that. It leads to depression. And now the light also wakes up vitamin D production. You absorb it from the sun. It helps your bones, it helps your muscles, it helps your nerves, and it prevents cancer. So you have all the reason in the world to break your sunglasses. You know what I do with sunglasses? I break them and use one side and put black tape to patch one eye and do eye exercise with it. That's what I do with them, basically. Now, you can put sunglasses when there's a sunrise or sunset and you drive towards the sun. Yeah, those times, or if you want to look good in a party or something, but basically sunglasses have to be in the pocket or broken.
Okay. Which are the worst thing that one person can do about its vision?
Read, look at a computer, not sleep well, not take rest, not go to nature, eat the wrong food all the time, not exercise in any way, not breathe deeply, intellectually focus on things. And that so many people do that. They would sit at a computer from 11 in the morning until 3 at night, and be very, very interested in what they're seeing. So they will keep looking at the computer and keep looking at whatever they're seeing at that computer, and absolutely will not take rest. And that means that, the body can do it. You can get tired and then get tired and then you recover. And then tired and tired, you recover. Do it for 5 years and you will not recover. And then you think it's a symptom. So you separate the symptom. Oh, I have high pressure in my eye. Let's take drops. I have cataract. Let's remove it. I have this. Let's fix it. Everything as if it doesn't connect to what you do. But what you do is what causes it.
So it's not so worst to use glasses or lens?
Contact glasses are very bad for you. Contacts are very bad for you. And LASIK is worse. Glasses are bad because when you wear glasses, it's like suggestive to not pay attention to your periphery. Also, if I want to see her, I move my head. I don't kind of sense her. I kind of move my head because my glasses freeze my gaze. Now, contacts don't have that problem because they move with the eyes, but the eye should reject any foreign object. And if you don't reject it, then you can have a compromise of your immune system of the eye. So any little particle can cause red eye and all kinds of problems. Somebody who doesn't have contacts, you have a particle, you blink, it goes away. But you have contacts, the immune system is so bad, it just doesn't reject things as easily.
But for your knowledge, which are the more usual effects of lens?
Of lenses, they don't allow your eyes to breathe. They don't give you oxygen. So, if you're myopic, you see better with contact lenses than when you see with glasses. If you're presbyopic, you see better with glasses than with contacts, okay? But basically, glasses are not good for you, contacts are not good for you. LASIK is the worst. Is really the worst thing you could possibly think about, because they make glasses out of your cornea, so you have less cornea, which, by the way, violates the relationship. I mean, it's such a harmony when the light falls in the cornea and then goes through the fluid, the aqueous fluid in the eye, and then goes through the lens, and then goes through the vitreous. And the vitreous changes. It's like a vitreous is like a gel, it changes a little bit for the light, and then the retina changes. And now you shave the cornea, and there is no good relationship anymore between the cornea and the rest of the eye. And people start to be light sensitive. So they see much better. And it's better than contacts and lenses in that you don't have to change them for 7, 9, sometimes 10 years. You don't have to change the prescription in a way. But after a while, the prescription doesn't work. So you have to put glasses or you shave them again, And you can bump your head, and the cornea is a part of your protective area. You can get retinal detachment. So there's all kinds of problems from LASIK. So I'm not anti-glasses, you know. Sometimes, you know, look, my kids, you know, they were born with cataracts, so their lens was removed, and they do wear thick glasses to see things. But I taught them to put them in the pocket. I taught them to use them when they need to, and not to use them when they don't. You know, I taught them all kinds of things that really makes them see better than anyone who was born with cataracts. So just like I think wheelchair is a good thing because somebody has to sit in a wheelchair, glasses are a good thing for specific situation. But when you put them in your face all day long, it's not a good thing. Look at what happened to your employee, Ivano, yesterday. I told him, here you stand without glasses. Well, I don't see anyone. I said, so what? Okay? So what? Where is the problem? Is he driving? Is he needing to find something in particular? He just gives pages to people. Or holds the microphone for me. Does he need to see everybody well when he holds the microphone for me? I don't think so. So the thing is, it's so mental that you have to always have 20/20 vision. As if it's written in the Bible, thou shalt see 20/20, yeah? Or thou shalt see 6/6. It's not the case. You get used to the vision that you have, even if it's poor. And slowly, slowly it gets better.